This is Mr. Impact Wrestling himself, Moose, and you're listening to the Irish Whip.
Hookers? Hookers and Coke?
Hookers and Coke, man.
You're the only pro wrestler I know that wants to do this shit in the morning.
Yeti, you're a f***ing moron.
Put it this way, I think Sami Callihan might as well just change his name to Invader
I
1.
want to know why. Like, he can dodge any question. Like, I'll tell anyone that. You can tell me but I'm going to ask specific questions.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
WrestlingNewsSource.com. For all the rest of you yahoos who are out there dilly-dillying, you little wankers, we're actually receiving real wrestling news.
This is
Brett screwed Brett.
Who are you to doubt El Dandy? Because this guy's a serious professional.
Brett screwed Brett.
Hold 2 arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your t-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule.
Yeah, they do.
I just hit goal. I hit it, and Josh like, what's up, TIW Mafia? JP here with this guy. I won't say he's high as giraffe pussy. He's higher than that. This shit's Jurassic. He's high as giraffe tits.
Hell yes.
My man Mike Farrell, Chaos Theory, at Chaos Theory _pod. I always screw up the underscore. What's going on, Mike?
Man, same old shit, different day, brother. It is Chaos _Theory pod on Twitter.
I always screw up the underscore every time.
Dude, I've done it twice on my own podcast.
No, you guys, do you used to do the one match. You talked about one match your whole show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so different. Like, how do you pick the matches? You just go through your favorites?
Yeah, I literally just go back and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling this week. Some days it's a TNA week. Some days I want to go to a match that I've never seen, like New Japan or Noah or ROH. Okay. And some days it's like, you know what? It's not even the whole match is not even a great match, but there's spots where I'm like, these motherfuckers were working their ass off. That's what I really.
All right. So that just makes it fun and like there's no. There's a high percentage of wrestling podcasts that you could listen to, and it was like Day of the Living Dead and Night of the Walking Dead. You would think you were watching the same movie back in the 80s, and you think you were listening to the same podcast, and you're just way different, and that's you put yourself out there, and you got some dope ass merchandise, by the way.
Thank you, sir. There is you can find that Chaos Club shirt on teespring.com/buy Chaos Club. That's the link. Yeah, you know, we have a lot of really good friends in the full press coverage community that do great podcasts. You guys, the reason I love Irish Whip is because you guys are so indie centric, and there's a whole lot of that out in the world. Whereas Boot to the Face and Talkamania are the WWE, AEW kind of deal. So what I decided was there's enough people in this lane. Let me make myself completely different. One, I don't know any wrestling podcasts that are rapping. And two, I'm a fan, but I don't watch the current product all the time. I really dig going back and watching old school shit.
That's how I'm pretty much, I'll watch indies now. Like I watched Beyond last night. They did 2 shows. One was taped, one was live on Indie Wrestling TV. And I watched both of those. Saw some great matches. And you get to see the up-and-comers. I'll watch some NXT. I'll watch NXT and AEW before I watch Raw or SmackDown, though.
Yeah.
Except for the pay-per-views.
Well, like this coming up week, it's WrestleMania week. But to be completely honest, I could not give a shit about this WrestleMania. But the NXT Stand and Deliver card Oh, that is what indie wrestling is made of.
And it's 2 nights long. Like, there's almost too much wrestling at WrestleMania, but I'm glad they're giving NXT 2 nights, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I almost wish they would cut WWE's down.
Me too.
And I love the Hall of Fame, so I'm looking forward to that.
The one match from the main card on WrestleMania I'm looking forward to is probably the same one that everybody here is. Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. That match, I feel like, is going to be the match of WrestleMania.
It will be. I wish they gave those two a little more time together, though, to make the feud a little more something else. I am not a wrestling god, Tommy Flynn, but thank you, buddy.
You know what? It's cool from an outsider coming in, man, and seeing you guys have the same people week to week. That's really, really dope. So I want to say what's up to you guys in the chat and say, look, man, you guys keep supporting the Irish Whip. These guys are fucking top notch, not only podcasters, but top notch human beings. It's good to see you guys. Follow me. I follow back. Yes. Everything we love.
Check out Chaos Theory. Like, absolutely give it a listen, especially like, I think Bobby D would enjoy it. And because Bobby D knows a lot of the old timers. He goes to a lot of shows around here. Karen in the audience saying, "Hi, Mike." I don't get a special hey from her. It is cool. And no, right. The Podcast King is right next to me because Mike came up, and when you were getting ready to do your podcast, you messaged all of us. Yep. You messaged me, Josh. I'm pretty sure you messaged Rucker and probably Marty, Jay and Dez over at, so you messaged everyone pretty much that's on the Full Press coverage. And we weren't even on Full Press at that point. Nope. And you said, hey, if I did this, would this work? I get texts like that from other people.
Elvis, Wu-Tang time.
That's
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
That's it. METHOD, man.
METHOD, man. God damn, man. We could do this whole podcast on just rap, and I would be. I could do a whole podcast on Wu-Tang. Oh my god! Yes. All right, let's not get on because I literally will take your entire show up just talking about rap music.
It's cool because I'm into it, like Yeah. I'm an OG though. I'm an old head. But I like all of it. I don't like too much of the new, like you said it, mumble rap. Oh, you mumble rappers can suck my dick.
Yeah.
And I agree with that 100%. If I can't understand what you're saying, it's not good.
Well, I appreciate that, Tommy. Tommy Flynn said Chaos Theory is immortal.
That is very true.
I appreciate that, but I'm 35 with the hairline of a 70-year-old, so it's kind of proving itself wrong.
Your forehead's just growing.
Yeah, exactly. My hairline has retreated.
So, yeah, I'm excited about Mania because it's Mania, and that's about it, though. It's like, in the WWE, I think they threw more matches onto it the recent years, but they've gotten lazy with it.
Very.
At the same time. I'm hoping next year with the live audience in Texas to be down there. And I'm hoping that they do something huge for like having the live audience back, a real live audience, not like a half an arena or whatever it's going to be.
Well, Jerry Jones put out a press release and has said as long as he gets the go-ahead from the CDC, there will be standing room only in that bitch.
Of course he did.
He wants, that thing fits 90 or 102 million or something like that. Yes, Elvis, I have a Russian. That's funny as shit. I've actually heard that. You know what's funny? One of my favorite lines that I've ever said in any kind of rap music is, I would talk about how people piss me off and I'm getting fed up because me and hip hop go back like my own edge up. That's my favorite. I love talking shit about it. It's so easy to do. But that Russian haircut is funny as shit, Elvis. You're hilarious.
Yeah, so it's I'm excited, but I'm excited to watch like what indie shows pop up too. down in Tampa. I think Beyond is going to be down there. I think I know the GCW will be down there. I know you like them.
Yep.
I think they have the Josh Barnett's thing going on, and some of those shows are going to be incredible.
Yeah. The one thing I want to get back to, have you ever heard of Wrestlemania?
Yes.
Oh my God. You talk about mixing rap and wrestling. It is the perfect. I mean, Wale is one of my favorite rappers in the world.
Really?
Oh yeah. And his love for wrestling is notorious.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he brings in, I think last year he had like New Day there, and
yeah. I mean,
he hosted the New Day Usos battle.
Yes, he did. I saw you make that face when I said Wale is one of my favorite rappers in the world. So let me tell you the album that you need to listen to. When I buy albums, I don't listen to whole songs. I'll listen to a song, a couple of verses, and then move on.
Okay.
With this Wale album, I will listen to intro, the skits in the middle, and the outro, and everything in between, because I'll put it to you this way. It's my favorite rap album in the last 15 years.
Really?
It's called The Gifted.
I will check it out. If you're saying it because I like your rap, like, guys, the other thing with Mike is you got to listen to some of his raps, and I know coming up, 420 is not too far away. Happens to be your birthday, your holiday, and your the day you're dropping your mixtape on SoundCloud.
I'm doing it on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, okay.
iTunes, but iTunes makes it fucking impossible to put music up there.
So, I mean, you guys got to check it out. We'll be playing some of the tracks here, and I know one of them is going to play when we spin the wheel tonight.
Yep.
Well, look at this. We got Dre in the audience.
What's up, Dre?
See?
You can't forget about Dre.
It's Dr. Dre, as Ruckus said it.
Sorry, that was a corny white boy dad joke. But that's what I am, so it's okay.
Dre doesn't know what to do if there's no 80 Proof tonight, which apparently, guys, if you listen to 80 Proof broadcast, rumor is there might be a show tonight.
If you're not listening to 80 Proof, J-Bomb and Rucker are two of the best guys I know in the world, period, aside from podcasting. But 80 Proof podcast, dude, it's to the point we have our own lingo. Like if we all got together, your community and 80 Proof community and the 80 Proof community got together, and the Irish Whip community was looking at us, and I walked up to you and I was like, "What's up, little bitch?" We'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like, that's so disrespectful, but you would get it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
80 Proof is that kind of podcast, man. It's a family. The people are amazing.
And it's not a wrestling podcast. It's an everything podcast, a lifestyle podcast, I guess. But they talk about everything and anything from finances to absolutely anything.
Yeah. I literally, we've had Rucker's mom call in. We've talked about swinging, and Jay's new thing. Just, you have to go on Twitch and listen to it, and listen for #GayMath.
Josh Richards said he'd fuck you up if you called him a little bitch.
Okay.
That's because you know why that is though? That's because he's a big bitch.
#GayMath.
So yeah, it's but wrestling wise, guys, last night #Beyond His Back was trending. You got to see a very good pro wrestler wrestled and had a victory over Robo in the first show. Robo's an up and comer he's actually from India, trains up here in New England, but when he goes back home, and like Kali just shouted him out the other day.
Oh, that's fucking huge.
Yeah, when he goes back down there, he actually trains at Kali school. Like, he's one of the trainers there and hangs out with Kali. Like, that's his crowd.
That's huge.
It's the WWE Hall of Famer, Great Kali.
Oh, Christ, don't get me started on that, bro.
There's nothing against Kali because he was a champ. Like, eventually, I think every champion's going to wind up in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Well, except one.
Yeah. Who? He doesn't exist.
Yeah, the guy that completely doesn't exist.
Chris Benoit.
Yeah. It's such a hard time.
Here's a question. Wrestling wise, Bobby D knows I grew up in Southie. Southie's a town that has some people that have done some stuff. And won't go there.
You have to be 80 proof community to understand why we laugh when Karen says shit like that.
Yes. Now, I'll just see her with the thing of peanut butter.
Wow.
She's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I see.
So, do you pull, if you're gonna not put Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame, do you pull Jimmy Snuka out of it?
Absolutely, and Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, absolutely. Well, they did pull Hulk Hogan out, and then they put him back.
Yeah. Look, here's my thing. I hate everything that Chris Benoit became.
Yeah.
Period. I'm a father, and I could never imagine doing that to my wife or my kids, but especially my kids, right?
Right.
That is absolutely, I believe WWE's doing the right thing. I do. But you cannot justify Hogan being in the Hall of Fame and then penalize almost anybody else. Like Hogan straight up in-bombed for like 10 minutes. And yes, that was in the privacy of his own home. But guess what? You're no more truer self than when you were in a place you feel secure at. So if you're willing to say that in your home, that's how you feel. You have to take him out.
This is true too. I forgot about this. Did you see this online today?
Josh sent that to me, and I thought he was playing an April Fool's joke on me.
No, WWE announced it yesterday, like with the whole countdown.
I am.
I mean, I'm skeptical of everything announced on April 1st.
Yeah,
but I don't think they would give Jericho that publicity.
No,
if that wasn't true, they know they're going to break the internet. They know they're going to crash the Peacock servers. I think that's their goal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is going to be the most viewed thing on WWE because when's the last time, aside from CM Punk calling out Colt Cabana live on Raw, when's the last time that WWE has ever mentioned a wrestler online that is actively signed to their competition?
Yeah.
This is going to make Jericho a billionaire, and it's going to make the WWE, because look, we all know AEW is doing this thing with New Japan and Impact. If WWE can figure out how to make talent exchange work, well, you're talking about making people very rich.
Yes. And you're talking about, I mean, I don't know how it works with Stone Cold's podcast. Obviously, he gets paid by the WWE network to be on there. But does he make his own money off of iTunes and everywhere else that he is?
No, because he doesn't upload them to iTunes anymore. It's strictly a WWE network.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Oh, so he's part of the WWE talk shows now because they won't call them podcasts.
Yeah.
It's not wrestling anymore either, guys. It's sports entertainment.
Sports entertainment.
But guess what? I've been through wrestling radio. I've been through internet radio. I've been through podcasts. The WWE podcast is the name. That's what it's going to stick as. And that's what you may as well call Swerve City, Stone Cold Show, and every other show that's on there, the bump, everything.
All of it. Yeah, absolutely. Elvis, you're right. We have a celebrity in the Hall of Fame that's very controversial. I believe he's talking about the former president. Yeah, Donald Trump. Look, I honestly believe Donald Trump shouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame at all. Anyways, he was in the WWE-ish for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, but that's all the celebrity wing is. I mean, it's the Drew Carey's and those guys. It's Pete Rose.
Pete Rose went back and forth with Kane for like 4 years.
Yeah, coming in as the chicken and stuff. But they I don't know. I'm not against him. I'm not against anyone being in there, to be honest with you, because it doesn't mean anything. Until they have a brick and mortar, it means absolutely nothing. Like there was legit Hall of Fame rings being sold on eBay at one point.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
what's her name? Sunny.
There was a couple of them, and so that's what that means to them. It doesn't mean shit. Like if they did a brick and mortar, something like what they had in Times Square when they had the restaurant.
Yep.
It would give a place for some of these guys to go and get work on the weekends where they could sign autographs and do, hey, come on in. We'll give you $500 for the weekend. Sign some autographs for us.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And you could rotate that through, obviously the guys that live in that area, the guys that live in the Northeast, if it's in New York or if it was in Texas, the guys that live down south, they're going to get preference because it's less to travel for them. But give them the work. That's, I think it would be a good idea, and I think it's a tourist attraction, not just something to see at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think, here's the thing. It was Paul Bearer's son that was selling his ring, and then Sonny. But the thing about the Hall of Fame is this. It doesn't mean dick. Impact Wrestling has a Hall of Fame, and who gives a shit about Impact Wrestling? AEW, I'm sure within the next 4 years we'll try to do a Hall of Fame, and it's like, who gives a shit?
Right.
I love Goldust and I love Dustin Rhodes, but it's for a Hall of Fame in professional wrestling, a Hall of Fame nomination to mean anything, it has to come from WWE. It has to, and even that, unless, like you said, unless they build a physical, complete brick and mortar Hall of Fame. Who gives a shit? You're just a name on a list somewhere that honestly nobody remembers until they look at that list of who's in. I mean, there are a couple guys. Obviously, everybody knows Andre's a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows Hogan's a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows Eddie Guerrero's a Hall of Famer. Those are guys that are bigger, not necessarily bigger than the business, but bigger than that Hall of Fame. Here's the problem that I have. Edge should not be a Hall of Famer right now. Edge should have had to I think for a Hall of Fame nomination to mean anything, you have to be retired for at least 5 years before it comes.
Do you think the baseball rule?
Yes, there has to be a waiting period.
Well, I mean, look at Flair. Flair got in and then wrestled the next night.
Exactly. I mean, look, Edge
and then came out of retirement. But to his credit, from what I understand, he asked Shawn Michaels before he came out of retirement.
Oh, of course.
Which is the right thing to do.
Edge is great. I'm not Rucker. I actually like Edge's work. But the problem is you have to. If the Hall of Fame is to mean anything, and Josh said it best, the Hall of Fame is a work. This whole business is a work. None of it's – I'm not going to say that because the ghost of Andre the Giant might choke me out. But it's all a work. It's all it's all a work. But I just think if it means anything, you have to have a waiting period. You have to let them be gone from the business.
Yeah, it should be more than just Vince McMahon deciding who goes in.
I 100% agree.
The thing was, what I thought was cool was that they put Billy Gunn in when Billy Gunn was over in AEW. Mm-hmm. When they did DX, and they let him come out in.
Well, Triple H told him, he was like, he will buy that pissant company just to fire you again.
Yes.
They're slowly opening up with Triple H moving more. I think he's moving more into control than we know. The more and more power he's starting to take, you can see it is starting to change like a lot.
Yeah, I think Vince trusts him more than he trusts anyone else to take over the company.
Oh, 100%. Shane's not committed. And Stephanie's great as a character, but she was never a full-time person. Vince is one of the very few exceptions. And he grew up with his father in the WWF, so he had some exposure to it. But what I mean is Vince is one of those very few exceptions of a non-performer, a non-actual worker, booking shit, not lately, but previously booking shit where it's like, oh, that's fucking genius. Like, this dude knows his audience. And that's kind of why Impact doesn't work for me anymore. It's all non-wrestlers.
Right.
It's all non-wrestlers. Everybody bitches about Cody and the Bucks having power in AEW, and I'm not a huge Bucks fan. They're working.
I don't like the Bucks.
Yeah, their matches are too gimmicky for me.
Yeah, and and I like haha stuff. Like, I love Orange Cassidy, but he knows how to do the haha stuff better than anyone else out there right now.
Yeah. I think Orange Cassidy, they need to. I'm coming around on him.
You need to watch his matches as his other personas. I don't know if you know.
Green Ant and stuff. Was he?
He was in with that crowd.
Yeah,
I'll say that. I'll say it wasn't Chikara, and it was polar opposite of Orange Cassidy.
I'm starting to come around on him, but I think you need to take him away from this best friends bullshit. Like, I like the best friends as their own Chuck Taylor and
yeah. Oh yeah, Trent
Beretta. I like those guys, but with Orange Cassidy, it's like you're being. To me, it comes off as a Kenny and the Bucks from New Japan. Because they're all kissing him on the cheek and they're hugging him and they're, it's like, come on, man. Like, I get a trio's supposed to get over in this certain way, but if you're going to push Orange Cassidy, you want me to believe that he beat Chris Jericho in that bubbly match and it meant something, you have to push him on his own.
Yeah. And I think, you're right. And they gave him that one match and then nothing else to follow it up with. So. But I think we got to spin this wheel, and then we got to play the second, guys. You heard the first half last week of the Very Good Wrestler interview. That sounds so weird saying it. We interviewed a very good wrestler. Well, we do it every time we have a wrestler on, but that's actually his name, a very good professional wrestler. We had fun with it. He actually tweeted it last week and said it was probably the best podcast he's been a part of, which I've been a fan of his for a long time, so that meant the world to me.
I can tell you that Masha Slamovich, when I talked to her, said the exact same thing as you. As a very good professional wrestler, she said it was her favorite podcast to do.
That's all. And you know why that is? It's because we don't know how to interview people.
Dude, I hate when you listen to, I know we got to spin the wheel. I hate when you listen to podcasts and it's like these laid out fucking formulaic questions. I want it to be a conversation.
I forget the questions I want to ask half the time because I don't write them down.
I think it makes for a better show.
So we started the show tonight, and what did I say to you? I said I have no agenda. And we just took up a half hour, so I'm about to spin this. During the spin, you're gonna hear Wins and Losses by Mr. Chaos. That is going to be the theme song for the wheel from here on out, I think. So,
hell yeah.
I gotta shuffle it up a bit. Yep. I like people to be able to see me shuffle, so
absolutely. When I'm not substitute hosting for one of you fine gentlemen, I am a avid viewer of the Irish Whip podcast, so I know the routine.
Yes. Now, tell us while I'm doing this, where can they find you? How can they listen to you? Where can they buy your merch? Just remind us.
You can find me Chaos_Theory Pod on Twitter, King Chaos 210 on Instagram. You can buy all of my merch at either PWT's gross. Whatamaneuver.net.
I boot you out.
Whatamaneuver.net, or the new place that I have a really good working relationship with is teespring.com/buy Chaos Club, and it has the shirt, the design that JP's wearing tonight. It has my new King Chaos shirt. When the mixtape drops, I'm planning on dropping a shirt with the cover of the mixtape on it. So, and there's not just shirts. There's sweatpants. There's leggings for the ladies. There's phone covers. There's COVID masks. There's all of it.
Incredible.
And you can find the mixtape on 420 at bandcamp.com/Mr. Chaos 210.
There you go. And I will be a customer for that. Now, obviously, I was a customer for the shirt. I'll be a customer for that mixtape too. I hope it comes with rights to play it on the podcast.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let me spin this. Let me see. I've shuffled it up quite a bit. We had a good amount of names. I'm going to hit a spin.
Gator, I walk through the valley of death. I'm just one of many killers that's a part of the set. Y'all be talking out your ass like it's none of us left. You must be higher than giraffe pussy. Hey, what's next? Y'all don't really want the competition taking the belt. I'd rather die than take an L. Y'all know how I felt. I be murdering the game. You just play with yourself. You kind of want to say my name, but you got no help. I believe in Mr. Chaos. I'm rocking the bells, but it's dinner time. Fucker, I'ma help myself. I don't want one bite, bitch. I came for the plate, cause I'm hungry like a dude with no food for a day. I ain't really wanna snap, but you rappers on the way down. I'ma fight till my last breath, never lay down. Hear you talking shit, but I don't care what you say now. Hustle till I hit $1 billion any day now. I'm just on this podcast tip to hit a lick while you mumble mouth rappers on your knees suck a dick. Claim to be a fighter, but we know that you's a bitch. Half you hoes ain't even writing all the lyrics that you spit. I've been putting in work, but y'all don't know what it is to work a 90-hour week.
That ain't gonna work, guys.
Down in the gutter, fight my
that
way.
That don't fly by me.
For all my people who ain't letting me stop. 24 bars in and I'm only getting better. Ho, sticking up the whole rap game. Let the cheddar go. Yeah.
It's another one.
Mr. Chaos. So sick of this whack rap. I see you whack bitches acting like I'm going away. I'll be here until you haters quit showing your face. Can't be a Don Dada if we know that you're fake. Whole crew is full of pussies like a lesbian train. All claim to bust guns, couldn't tell me where the mag goes. Whack hoes getting wiped like assholes. I'm so sick of whack rap, it's the internet's that. Real lyrics coming back so young and better face facts. You don't even want to see it, you don't really want to beef. I'm a sniper in the jungle and a hitter in the street. Just believe me when I say it, man, I'm telling the truth. Had the mic smell of death when I murdered the booth. Y'all done went and did it, so I had to kill it. Had me spitting hot fire like Sriracha with it. I'ma drop the mic, let you have it back. Soaked it with the gasoline and now I lit the
Doing back. The Favor podcast.
Hell yeah.
Oh, man. Hashtag legwork. I love it. I am so happy. You know what I love about our community here?
What's that?
One of them reminded me of something. So, guys, today's podcast is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space, so you always know how much you're going to get, when you're going to get it. And when you include an ad from Podgo, apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with advertisers that fit your culture, that fit your audience, that fit your family and your environment. That's podgo.co at podgo, podgo.co. And be sure to add our podcast in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Just mention the Irish Whip section of the application. Thank you, guys.
Hell yeah. I love Podgo. Those guys are awesome.
So good. They are very good to us and to, you know, all of our, obviously all the podcast family. If you have a podcast and you're not using that, you need to consider it, really, honestly.
Yeah. They're great. They make all the ads are super easy and they're flexible about how you read them and when you read them. So
now I am going to figure out how to share this video.
I am a very, very good professional wrestler. And this is a week in my life.
I don't want to go grow old and look back and say, man, I should have did something different.
We got work outside of wrestling. Most people don't know. What's his best time?
Do you like having a daddy that's a wrestler? You're filming.
Oh, hi, guys. Dad, can we wrestle?
Yeah, we can wrestle.
I'm nervous wreck. I'm shaking a little bit. My hands are going. Such a proud dad over here. Yeah, look at this smile. Hey, love you. Took a back bump, a nice clean back bump. As soon as I hit, I felt this shooting pain in my hip.
I need to know everything. Who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George. I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse. I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything.
To go after.
No. How did it feel for you before COVID? Like, you had one character that was just so iconic. that people knew whether you were like Chikara fans or not, you've heard of it. If you were an indie wrestling fan, how does that feel?
That felt great. Like it felt like I did my job. I did what I was supposed to do. I don't know. Other than go back to that word humbling again. Like for people to send me some of the messages I've received, or for people to come up to me at shows and say, you remember that time you did this? This is what it meant to me. Like all that stuff was great. But for me, after a while though, it did like once I reached a certain level, like I felt like I wasn't challenged anymore to gain a crowd's approval, to gain that respect from the crowd. And I was able to kind of put it in cruise control, and I didn't like that. So that's when I started with Mike, like, hey, I need to change. I want to do something different. Like this, I'm getting complacent and this is becoming easy. So it took lots of battling and arguing and time for me to get my way, but eventually I did. And then it was on to the next challenge, and then I'm still chipping away at that now.
Now, do you feel like going out there as a very good professional wrestler, like obviously the moniker fits, and the moniker is very, you talk to anybody from Chikara, and I mean, we've talked to Solo Darling, Green Ant's a friend. Like anytime you ask them who they looked up to the most, it's you, honestly. Like I think Solo actually called you the GOAT.
Oh, I like me some Solo.
So like, how does
she did call you the GOAT? It was
knowing
official.
that
she called you the GOAT, and I think she also said she had a crush on you. I think that was the
yes.
I think that was the two main points we got out of that. So she's the most.
If I wasn't a married and committed married man, I'd make my move.
Yeah, and that's it. I can't think of people don't understand her education and intelligence. So JP,
right.
Sorry, bad. I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, no, it's they don't, and it's awesome. That's why, like, as a fan, for me, like I said, I mean, you're wrong, first of all, because Creator Wrestler had fans. Like, people loved that character.
I'm glad they did. Not enough of them, I guess, for me to be satisfied, but that's good. It only made me work harder.
No, it really did. Like, and the little subtleties that Creator Wrestler did, the little changes that were made here and there, and the gear being, what you would get, literally like the same gear you would get off the video games. Like that stuff stood out.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think Quack saw a work ethic in me, and he saw how green I was, so I was the perfect guy for the role. Like if you play a video game as Creator Wrestler, he doesn't start off, as the champ. He goes in, he gets squashed when he wrestles those guys. So it was like he knew I was going to get better. He knew I was going to improve. He knew my physique was going to improve. My technique was going to improve. So I was the perfect guy to fit that role because he knew every season that we relooped it, my stats would go up.
That's the genius thinking of like a mind like that. And it's a shame that it's, what it is at this point. But like the fact that you guys all come out of this in something stronger, and I think a very good professional wrestler. When I first saw that on Twitter, and I saw Caleb tag you because he had you on. He was going to have you in his Connecticut show, I think, for the New England All-Star Wrestling.
Okay.
And I don't even know if that happened or not, but I was like, who the hell is this? Like coming out with Sidney Bacabella, like who's a very good pro wrestler? And then I looked and I was like, is that? It is. And like I was excited for that again. So it was as a fan, from my point of view, that was fun.
Yeah,
and I enjoyed seeing.
I got the idea, and it was one of those things when it hit my brain. I was like, "That's it." Like I don't care. Like if people hate it, if people love it, I love it, and I'm running with it.
Joey has to manage you at some point.
Yeah, well, that was my biggest disappointment with Chikara shutting down. Is I had just gotten with Joey. We had been advocating for that forever, and we had just made our connection where Joey and I were together. The next whole season of Action Arcade was going to be me and Joey, and I was so pumped.
But him managing somebody called a very good professional wrestler is just, I'm telling you, that's money.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen.
I was so excited about the arcade because I got like almost a 4-year-old right now that could sit down on a Saturday morning and eat some cereal and watch some pro wrestling. Like that was, to me, I guess one of those things that continues to bring up the nostalgia for guys our age, and it was fun because there was some really cool talent, there's some great matches, some the just the gimmicks and the fun, and it was one of those. I miss it all. It's just hopefully somebody else will pick it up and do it because I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
The worst part about it was we got that one season and we saw how great it was. Like that was the first thing we had done as Chikara as a family that I felt like, hey, we're making something special again. Like it had been a couple years and like it came out and I was like, and again, being our age, that's the wrestling we grew up on, the Sean Mooney's, right? We had Sam Laterna fill in that role. Like the jobbers were there.
Yep.
We were building up, to those big pay-per-views, like the 4 a year, the exact same way that like early 90s WWF had done. Dude, and when it came out, same year, I'm sitting there with my 2 kids every Saturday morning. We're eating breakfast. We're watching wrestling. They're loving it. It was like I said, it was the first thing we had done to me that felt like this is special and people are going to love it in a long time. And the fact that that's when we got the chop, like broke my heart.
Now, do your kids, because from what I've seen, kids either love or don't like it all when their parents are pro wrestlers. Do your kids like being around it?
Yeah, and I talk about that a little bit in the day of the life with my kids. Like I kind of sit them down and ask them some questions. So we bust into that a little bit. But I think they enjoy, especially my little guy. All he does every day, like to the point where it drives me nuts. Dad want to wrestle. Dad want to wrestle. Dad want to wrestle. Dad want to like. We just had a wrestling match on a trampoline. We did Kurt Angle versus Vader about an hour ago.
It's awesome.
He loves Vader. He's a big Vader fan.
What do you being a dad, man? Like how much? What have you learned about yourself outside of the ring from the kids that you didn't expect you would learn?
That's a great question, man. I don't even know. I guess just like that I don't mind all the sacrifices I've made for my kids. I guess that's the biggest one. Like I haven't touched a video game since my daughter was born until they just got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. So I play a little Mario Party now with them.
Dude, I can tell you right now, we got the Switch 2 with Mario Kart, and it's it's the time thing. I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. Right?
Yeah, I do, and don't miss video games at all. I don't call my buddies up and hey, want to go to a bar and get a beer and some chicken wings. And I've still got some really good friends outside of wrestling that I've had since I was a little kid. We're a real tight knit group of guys. And they get mad at me sometimes. I'll show up to the big stuff, but it's never just I can come hang out randomly. And I don't really mind that. That's my role at this point in life. I can see how having kids has held back some of the things I've wanted to achieve in wrestling, just as far as I can't take off and go to Japan for a month. Not possible for me. So things like that aren't there for me, which suck. But at the same time, I'm still winning on the other end. If I had to pick one or the other, I'm picking being a dad and hanging with my kids all day long. So it's I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough that my wife is awesome and very patient and lets me wrestle as much as I can to try to make the most out of, that time that I can sacrifice for wrestling. And as much as I'm aware of how that holds me back in the world of wrestling compared to guys who just go out and get it every day, all day, that's my life and that's what I got and I'm going to make the most of it.
I'm not a father, but I don't do I have a Switch too, and I play Super Mario Brothers. I beat Super Mario Brothers at least once a day. I never get into Mario Kart, but you're right. You grew up, I'm 47 years old. I grew out of that stuff for the most part. Do I want to go to a bar once in a while? Sure. And I do once in a while, but it's not when I was in my 30s and my 20s.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up anymore and doing a road trip to Philly for wrestling shows on a random weekend. You got to plan that stuff now. Yeah, absolutely. So, my calendar's got to be planned months in advance. I can't be hey, I'm leaving tomorrow. I got this surprise booking. Sometimes I can. I have, but again, how much of that are we going to see on the Signature Series? The Signature Series with Beyond? No, I'm sorry, not the Signature Series. With your show coming up. The life of. That whole thing, there's very little wrestling. I go to a Camp Leapfrog show. I show you a little bit around there. But you're going to see it's a lot of me, my kids. My wife's not really pumped to be on camera, so I get her up there as much as we can. But it's very little wrestling and mostly a week in my life, outside of wrestling. People know me within wrestling, right? They've seen me around wrestling for 15, 16 years now. So it's, especially being a Chikara guy, we keep identities and real life as hidden as possible. So
yeah, it's my life. It's gym routines. It's work outside of wrestling. It's my kids. It's my wife and my family.
I think we're really just here to boost his ego. I think that's our job tonight is to boot, just to continue to boost. Because
one of the best wrestlers on the independents right now, hands down.
I mean, once you told me Solo called me the GOAT, my ego went.
That's it. You can't get out the door anymore. Your head's so big, right?
Yeah, man. Gotta get a new Marlins hat.
I'll put it this way. So I bought a autographed picture, the last match that Joe Gacy had with Tony Deppen, but that's autographed. I got that framed. Go ahead.
Josh, do you have a Dasher shirt, or was that a Mr. Touchdown shirt you got?
I do, and
you got to tell that story. I know the answer, but I just want you to tell that story.
No, I do have a Mr. Touchdown shirt, which again, thank you for doing everything you did to. There always has to be that other dance partner that is there, and dude, I don't think there could have been any other dance partners there with anybody that was there that have left than you.
How did you get that shirt though?
So, Parcel of Power, right? I sign up for Parcel of Power. I get an email saying we're not doing it anymore. And I said, bullshit, I paid for it. Where's that?
Yeah,
I was kind of an asshole. I was kind of so
you should have been. You paid for it.
Quack emailed me back. He emailed me, right? And he also wrote me a nice message, right? But I did get the last Parcel of Power ever made by Chikara Pro.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. That T-shirt was in it. So yeah, it's nice to have. I got the mask. I don't think I have the personalized letter anymore. I think that might have went away.
Did you realize at the time that like all of these characters like Boomer and Mr. Touchdown were being sort of built around you?
Yeah, it was my family, right? Like we kind of started it with the YouTube series.
Yes, that was awesome. So can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Well, that was before Boomer was like in the ring, right?
Yeah, he was like 12 at the time, maybe.
But was that the same was that Boomer? Can we break that?
I don't know if I'm going that far.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
There you go. Thank you.
I'm watching the YouTube, and it looks the same. And so I think it might have been. But then I was like, this is years before. Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Yeah, this is how sick we are when it comes to Chikara, right? I was going back and I was watching those training videos that Quack put together. And I was like, I know that voice.
Pulled out.
I know that voice. I know that voice. So I was able to pull one. So it was after we interviewed him, and he stayed
that was
kayfabe.
part of the fun though. Like a lot of guys get annoyed when fans start poking around about like trying to figure out who's who. And to me, I remember being a fan and like getting the internet. And the first thing I think I ever searched on the internet was probably like, what's Shawn Michaels' real name? Like, so I enjoyed as a wrestler being on the other side of that and like making it my mission that when you typed in Dasher Hatfield without his mask, like nothing came up.
That's
or
awesome.
what's Dasher Hatfield's real name? It didn't come up. Like,
you're reporting shit left and right, aren't you? Report.
Game for me.
We did a convention up here in Rhode Island, and me and Joe, our other buddy that was doing the show, we brought up Green and Thief, and I said to him beforehand, because he wasn't real familiar with Chikara, he's more a mainstream, on TV type of guy. I said, you might not see their faces ever. Don't be offended if they come in wearing the mask. If they stay wearing the mask anytime they leave the hotel room, do not be offended by that.
Mm-hmm.
And he he was like, all right, but and they pretty much did. It's that's
yeah.
not,
And I never had anybody at least come and say anything to me about being offended by that. Like I tried to keep mine on, as much as I could. I got messages from fans like, yo, I saw you pull into your hotel, your mask was on. I'm like, yeah, you don't know it well.
Yeah, what are you doing following me to the hotel, you creep?
Yeah, why are you at my hotel, bro?
How many masks did you typically travel with?
2. Yeah, usually like two. Once I started getting different colored ones, I'd usually bring two different colors.
Did the different colored masks help you, like, as far as like if you were gonna be the hero or the villain? Like, would you show up in a pinstripe one up in Boston or something like that? You know what I mean?
Well, I did one time. I remember bringing maybe I just wore a Yankee jersey that weekend, but I remember giving it, I think, to Shane Hawk to wear out to in front of a Boston crowd. But no, like as the good guy, no, I always just had white masks. The only thing that were different colors were the threads. And then towards the end, when I started my run against Boomer, I had actually the one Green Ant made for a contest. He made an all gold one that was beautiful. And it was
such
beautiful.
good work.
Actually, it's right up there. I see it now. I got it up on my shelf. It's probably my favorite one that I have, except for I had him make me a black one that had all gold threads and a mustache, and that's the one I lost to Boomer. So Boomer has that one now. I don't have that one anymore, but that was probably my favorite one.
The mustache on the mask was my favorite part of the mask.
It looked so creepy when the first time when I had him make that black one, I was like, take it off. People love it. I want to take it off. And then when he took it off, it just looked like a dominatrix mask, and I was like, "Oh, put it back on."
It helped in a way to even your mask was a baseball, but it helped in a way to even put over the baseballness of it because that was a very old school baseball mustache.
Yes, it was. I drew that mustache.
Did you really?
I drew that one.
That's more than I could draw. That's for sure.
So what do you have coming up? I mean, we've got The Life of, which how long is the actual? It's a documentary. That's basically, how long is it?
Well, it's gonna be actually. There's more to come after me. So mine's only one episode.
Right.
And it's like 58 minutes. I want to say it's a little less than an hour.
Wow. So you literally had this camera, I mean, all week, and your job was every time you go someplace, no matter what you're doing, you take that thing. I mean, probably not when you sleep, but I mean, you're taking that and setting it down, and you're living 24/7 with the camera, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say in the week I filmed about 8 hours worth of footage. So just at first I was trying to get what I thought would be interesting, and then I'm like, man, I'm never gonna get a lot of footage. So then after a while, and the guy who put it together, his name's John Phil Savage. He's a great dude. But after a while, I just started sitting it down in my kitchen when we were just hanging out around the house. And he's like, that kind of footage is actually really helpful.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's probably about 5 of the hours are actual stuff going on, something I wanted you to see. And then probably 3 of the hours are just me filming. I mean, you guys will never see all 8 hours of it,
right.
But he broke it down to an hour. And as a storyteller, I love the story that he kind of found throughout the footage I gave him, which isn't something I planned, but he's like, hey, I found a story in here and I'm going to run with it. So if I left something out that was really important to you, I'm sorry it didn't make the cut, which is part of the process, I guess. But the end result, I couldn't be more pumped about sharing it with the world. My family's really excited about it. Anybody who's seen it already is just dude, you did a great job filming. I'm like, all right, good. I guess I did my part.
Well, I think that speaks to your loyalty and your humility and your ability to just be who you are. When somebody asks you to do something, you're not going to do it. It's going to be 100%. You're going to do it. You're just going to do it. And I think that's why as soon as I saw that preview, I was I'm attached. I'm already attached as Mark anyway. But when I saw you with your kids, no mask, at home, enjoying the time, those are the things, me as a Mark and a pro wrestling fan, those are the things that pull up my heartstrings and say, I'm giving that guy my money because he's doing it right, and not the shitheads that are doing it the wrong way. And like you said, that arcade in the morning, that helped me. Pro wrestling is an art form. It's so much fun. It is so much fun and so much fun to appreciate. And I don't know, it makes so much more sense when he found that story, man. I think it's going to be really cool to watch. It's on the calendar. I've marked it out.
To toot my own horn or whatever, but I give actually John Phil Savage all the credit for the way he pieced it together. But it's super enjoyable. I think you're really going to love it.
Now, what do you have? I know New Jersey has kind of had some bookings, had some shows throughout the pandemic. Have you been working at all?
Yeah, I've been actually. I'm quarantined right now. In this last week and a half, my wife, both of my kids got tested positive for COVID. So luckily my wife was the only one who had symptoms. Not lucky that she had them, but lucky that my kids, either of my kids did. They were running around usual selves. My daughter got off quarantine today. My wife gets off tomorrow. My kid gets off in another day or two after them. And then me, the one who didn't get COVID, I've got to quarantine another week after that. So I'm on the books until April 2nd. I'm off my quarantine. But back to the bookings, like this couple weeks that we've had to quarantine was probably the most busy I was going to be. I think I had 3 bookings that I had to cancel. I got real lucky that I have one April 3rd. So it's like the day after I get off quarantine at ECWA, where I won the Super 8 last year. I'm wrestling there for the championship. And I just was announced for Super 8 again in May. So I'm about to win that thing back to back.
Is that a prediction or a guarantee?
I mean, it's a prediction. That's confidence. That's me being confident. I
love it.
And I hope I get to wrestle Ricky Morton. That would be cool. Ricky Morton's in the Super. How cool is that?
It's always cool to see the Super for the guys like you that are. I know you've been around forever, but I'm going to say up and coming because like you're just undiscovered, and that's all it is.
Yeah,
and that's what the Super 8 is.
With clean slate, winning the Super 8 last year, dude, meant the most to me. And like, I don't think I walked in that building that day supposed to win the Super 8. I think my first 2 matches eventually changed a little bit of the idea in the promoter's head, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, main event, you're over." I'm like, "Okay, sounds good to me." But you'll see me on Beyond Signature Series coming up. That was one of the dates I just missed. I was supposed to be there April 1st, but I'm really looking forward to working there. I feel like that might be where you see me and Bacabella get together and do our thing and make magic. It's going to be amazing. Hopefully, if all of that happens, let's see what else. I just got booked the other day. They didn't announce it yet. I hope I'm not jumping the gun a little bit on the next Sean Henderson weekends he's doing.
Okay.
So I'm busy, and I know when Black Label Pro comes back, like Mikey's the greatest. He's got me on all his shows for the foreseeable future. So I'm going to be busy. I need the world to open back up so I can get busier.
Yeah, we have our first show in Mass coming up. The first like real show with the fans coming up in the next couple of weeks, which is really cool. And a good sign of things. It's
are they back in White Eagle?
No, it's not. Beyond's coming back to White Eagle at some point. This was APW that they run out in Newburyport, out in Cena Country, and they've got a show coming up. It is. It's his hometown, and it's the one place. It's the one place in Boston and Mass that doesn't book his father.
I just JP. I'm just thanks for coming. Thanks, a very good professional wrestler, for spending the time in the evening tonight. And JP, I got a few more questions. I know you probably have a couple too, right? And I don't want to keep you all night, but I gotta ask like the question, how did it go down with the breakup with Chikara? Like how did you get the information? How did it
I think Twitter, like the rest of the world. Like all of a sudden, like my Twitter started blowing up, and I'm looking at none of it is good. And then I remember laying on my couch, like I didn't want to keep my wife up looking at my phone all night, but like laying on my couch till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just kept getting worse, kept getting worse.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm not a pessimistic person. I try to be as optimistic as possible. So like I took like my 12 hours and kind of let it all soak in, and I was like, on to the next chapter, I guess. And then immediately my wheels started turning. The name change wasn't something I initially was planning on doing. I was still going to be Dasher Hatfield. I had felt like I had built them up to a certain point. I didn't want to give all of that away. And I had already made my heel turn at that point in Chikara. So I was like, all right, I'm at a spot where I'm happy, and I'm going to go out in the wrestling world and kind of see where I land. But then, like I said, like once I thought of that name, I was like, okay, I kind of love this name, and I'm going to change my name now. So I know a couple times people have asked, like, did I change to like separate myself from the company? And that wasn't it at all. Like, as far as my time in Chikara, I got nothing to be proud of. I'm really proud of the magic we made. Yeah. I'm really proud of the family I made. Like, for as long as it lasted, I mean, I'm sad it ended, but for as long as it lasted, I got nothing but good memories.
And you know what? Stuff happens, but like a lot of magic and a lot of good things came out of that company over the years.
Much. And I really feel like if we weren't so isolated in the cancel culture, it kind of would have.
I don't know. I mean,
itself.
yeah, and I think
I don't
something
want
else.
to. I don't want to say. I don't want to. But I mean,
we appreciate
that's kind of how we heard too.
As fans, like we appreciate what guys like you've done for that company. Vin Gerard, who you brought up, and I don't think like you don't hear Vin Gerard's name enough anymore because he was such a great there. Claudio and all of those guys did to really build that country.
It sucks that we left a bad taste in everybody's mouth at the end. But like looking back on it, like the amount of great people I met through that company far outweigh any of the shitheads that came along. Far outweigh.
You've been around there for long enough that you've seen everybody that's come through there, really.
Yep, from 2006 till it ended, everybody that came through. And again, like that's my opinion. Other people are entitled to their own opinion. I'm not going to argue with you about your opinion. Right. My opinion is I had a great time. I made great memories, and I got a lot of people I still consider family.
Yeah,
it means a whole lot to me.
Yeah, and that you guys really were, and you guys very did have you where it was like the fans were a part of the show.
2003, I don't care. I'll argue that till forever.
I got to be a part of so many, like as a fan, I got to be a part of so many like historical things. Like I was a part of the first Purple Heart chant for Soldier Ant. I was a part of the first Holy Poop chant when Lindsay dove out of the ring 3 rows back. We were there for that, and like
that's awesome.
Chanting Holy Poop, right? And I got to tell Lindsay right before Lindsay signed, he did an autograph signing up here, and I got to tell him that. And he was like, "Dude, that was they told me not to do it. They told me not to do it. So the only thing I could do was dive over everyone's hands."
I can imagine. I'm just picturing this from the fan perspective of how that was born, where it's like one guy yells, "Holy shit!" and then everybody else looks at him like, "Bro, we don't say that here." And then everybody got the same idea at the same time. It was like 400 light bulbs went off at the same time, and it just came to life.
Seeing when Steve the Turtle Weiner got announced for the Young Lions Cup, and he had no clue when he was literally in the audience, and Quack announced him for the Young Lions Cup, and he came in and cut a promo. He legitimately had no idea before that. He had let a bunch of you guys crash at his house the night before and earned his spot.
Yeah, way to go, Turtle.
So like just little parts like that I got to be a part of, and I really like they're lifelong memories at this point now. So thank you for that. For as a fan,
you're welcome, man. Thank you for doing your job. Like without you guys, expressing of what we meant to you at that time, like we would never know. But thank you for being a part of it and playing along. Like the fun part about Chikara was the fans did not come to shit on wrestling. They came to be a part and have fun.
You're talking too fast. Can you slow down?
Oh yeah.
Because that was that was one of my favorite spots in Chikara.
Yeah.
Slow down. Because of the fans. The fans made that spot too.
Yeah.
Because they started chanting in slow. If you guys haven't seen that, look that up. If you like silly, it's a haha spot. It's funny wrestling. I think it was Colin Delaney when he was tagging up with
You're getting old, JP.
Jimmy Olsen.
Yes, it was Colin Delaney and it was Colin Olsen and Jimmy Olsen, the Olsen brothers, and they did a spot where they did it in slow motion, and the fans started chanting and clapping in slow motion right along with them.
It was magical, man, and to me. It was probably the most influential part of me doing what we do now, because it gave me the ability to see an artistic freedom that was bigger than what was on TV. And when we started doing this like 15 years ago, we never thought that first AG would be where he's at. Right?
Love AG.
Chikara where it's at. And then for them to have like a stalwart in you to help guide over a decade of people there, man. Like it's hard for me to express, because this is always going to be, it's until I get to travel and we get to do and see this stuff. It's so the orchestra that you guys put together regularly with the ingenuity and the fun is why the Holy Poop stuff was able to happen, is because everybody was on the same page, feeling the same energy, doing the same thing. And you said about an ECW feel, I think you did get it. It just was too early for something like this. Chikara had to happen for you guys to go. Chikara had to happen.
My wrestling goal list, if you talk to me, 21-year-old me just taking a bump for the first time, and I made a wrestling goal list, like find that field would have been the biggest box. And, I'm gonna quit wrestling one day with that box checked off. Like, that's no longer something I need to achieve. Like, that was find that brotherhood, find that family, build this thing as a team. Now that I've checked that, I can be all me. What do I want to do for me? And that's kind of where I'm at now.
What do you want to do? What is your next goal?
Like I'm at that age where I kind of think like, and people tell me no, I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like my opportunities of getting a job and not having to go to 9 to 5 Monday to Friday are getting slimmer and slimmer as I get older. So that's my main focus right now, is get a job. And if that doesn't work, then next goal is just have fun. I'd love to wrestle in Mexico. That's a goal. Something you find out in the show, and I'll kind of sneak this one in there, but I teach. That's my 9 to 5. So my summers are all free. So I do have summer to go out there and do what I need to do. So I'd love to take a trip to Mexico and wrestle there. And other than that, like as far as the independents go, like I felt, and this is kind of even where the name was born from, like I never felt that people ever, and maybe they did, and you guys might argue with me, but I never felt I got the respect that I wanted for being a good wrestler. Like I always felt like, yeah, you're entertaining and you do what you do well and it's different and I had fans and whatever. But it was always like, whenever my name would pop up, it was like, oh, this guy's underrated. Like I heard that all the time and it drove me nuts. Like I didn't want that attached to me anymore. So now, like I felt like I never got those matches against whoever the best wrestlers available were outside of Chikara. Like Quack gave me those matches. I wrestled Generico, I wrestled Brody, I wrestled Keith Lee, I wrestled Ciampa. But like that was all in that bubble. Like,
but I can tell you why.
Oh, go ahead.
Because you made the guys in Chikara look better by wrestling you. So you didn't need that rub. You were given the rub.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And I felt like I worked my way up to earn those matches, but I still felt like when I got bookings elsewhere, like it was always like, I can think of like one match I got against Tyson Dukes that I really loved. But other than that, it was like I got booked to come wrestle like the comedy guy, which was great and fun, and I had a blast. But eventually that got old, and the new challenge was I wanted those main event matches. I wanted to wrestle the Gulags. You know what I mean? Okay. Those types of guys. And I did eventually wrestle Drew, but again, in that Chikara bubble. So if I've a goal on the independents right now is I want to wrestle all the best dudes on the independents right now. You were mentioning Dickinson, who I wrestled, but in the Chikara bubble. You mentioned Deppin, who you Matt Mikowski's a guy I want to wrestle right now. Yuta I want to wrestle right now. Garcia I want to wrestle right now. There's tons of dudes. There's so much talent on the indies, but I want to wrestle all of them. All the best ones. That's my goal. Wrestle all of them.
I hope Beyond is listening right now. I hope Limitless is listening right now. I hope all of those companies are listening to this, because you just named like 4 or 5 great matches that would main event any show anywhere in the U.S.
And you're getting everything I got. My pedal's down, man. There's no holding back. So, I'm going to give you everything I got right now because I feel like my time's ticking as far as earning that job. And so I gotta give the rest of the world what I got, and I got to do it now.
I think I'm ready for him to go to just take the prize out. I think Alec Price needs to be taken out a little bit.
Have you seen Alec Price?
No.
He does. He's done a lot at Limitless. He's a Boston kid.
Okay. Did Anthony Green just tweet about him the other day?
Probably.
Oh, God.
I think I looked. I saw a clip. I do know what you're talking about now. I watched a real quick clip. Good. Yeah. All right. Let's go. I've had a little talk with Limitless as of late, so maybe that's happening. We'll see.
Yeah, I know a few of you guys have made that trip up there, and that's a hike for you guys.
Yeah, from what I heard, there's like a 6-hour venue and a 9-hour venue, but that's nothing.
That's not too bad. That's an overnight. And
I'll have to look back, but I think a couple years ago, and even before COVID, like Randy they were getting ready to run a 5,000 seat arena.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he had something big planned, and then COVID happened, and
their shows look like tons of fun. I've watched a couple of their shows. The crowd's hot. The crowd's into everything they do. The wrestlers are giving 110%. They're going nuts. So I'm a big fan of the product that they're making.
I can't wait for you to be a part of that product, is what I'm saying.
Let's go.
It's already a fun. Yeah, Now, do you have companies like that you want to get to, or is it just everywhere and anywhere right now?
My big thing right now is the opponents. Like, it's kind of the first question.
Okay.
If I get a DM from a company I never heard of, like, hey, do you want to come in? What's your price? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I started with, who do you want me to wrestle? So that's going to change my price. That's going to change if I want to go.
I was just going to say, how many prices do you have? Because
right. And it depends on how bad I want to be there. Right. There's the I don't want to go, so give me enough money that my wife won't get mad at me price. Or there's the I really want to come wrestle your show price. Yeah, a lot of it, like, I don't care. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm thrilled to be wrestling for Beyond right now. Even though it was just a signature series one match, I'd love to wrestle for Limitless. But more than anything else right now, like, I just want the matches. And right now, that's where all the guys, Beyond books the best wrestling talent available. So that's why I want to be there. Limitless books a lot of great talent, and their young kids are just super hungry. So that's why I want to go there. Like, that's what I'm looking for. I want the people who are going to give
the product.
What'd you say?
You're in Jersey and you know the products already.
Yep.
That says something.
Let me ask you. This is some question. This is a question I think is more for my kids when they get older and they start looking at some of this stuff. What's the one common advice you would give to the guys that have made it? Like, when they're working with you, like, I know you passed on advice to them. I mean, is there some common theme that you have passed on when you've worked with them?
I can't think. The only thing I can never think of that I kind of spit out a lot of times is just like, take advantage of the opportunities that are staring you in the face. Like, I love when I show up and a guy has a bunch of ideas. That's great. That's better than a guy who shows up and is like, I don't know what I want to do. What do you do? But the first thing I always look at is, like, the pairing. What can you and I do together that I can't do with anybody else in the room? Like, what story can we tell with our personalities? What story can we tell that's going to make us both look good physically as far as movements and things like that? Kind of like, don't look gift horse in the mouth. Like, yeah, you had a bunch of spots coming into this, but do they make sense now? But more than anything else, like, this is a unique pairing, right? If I was wrestling you today, this is the only time that's ever happened, or maybe it has happened more times, but nobody else in the building can do what we do. So let's figure out what we can do best together and then give people that. Like, my biggest pet peeve, I guess, would be then, like, I love when guys show up, but then, like, if a guy comes with his ideas and it's like, that doesn't really fit, or we can't even physically do that, and yet they can't get themselves away from that idea. That drives me nuts, because it's supposed to be, hey, let's show up and figure out the best things we can do and not just what we want to do.
Tell a story that makes sense and makes people forget they're watching what they're watching, right?
You got it.
What do you do? And this will be probably my last question. You're a teacher. That you've told us that for your 9 to 5. What do you do now where you're not wearing the mask if one of the kids finds out?
Like, I try to. I don't know. It's kind of a new world for me. But more than anything else, like, I still don't do anything I'm ashamed of.
Okay.
Like I think I let 2 curses slip in this whole thing, and I try to not curse at all ever. That's super rare. I mean, that's something I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for? Probably not. But for the most part, everything that I do is something, if one of my students finds on YouTube somehow, like, it's not something that I'd be ashamed to show them.
Right.
That's a good way of living life.
I'm a naturally teacher. So is it? I think that's the answer. I think I've already answered my own question. The reason you did what you did and you stayed where you stayed and committed to what you committed for is because you're a teacher at heart. Like that, you get your success out of seeing other people succeed. And excuse my French, but I'm just super excited to see you go places, man. This is, I don't know, it's personal for me. I think it's personal. Because I want to see you. I want to see you on Wednesday nights at least. Somewhere at some point. Like, I want to see that happen. Maybe it goes to Tuesdays. Those 2 places. I mean, for me, it's on the map, and I think it's only a matter of time. And I feel I feel super blessed and super honored that you're here with us and spending time with us, because believe it or not, you're an icon and a legend to me when it comes to Chikara and what it stands for.
Dude, I've enjoyed every second of this, because just the way you make me feel. Hearing those things, this ain't another podcast, another day for you. And, it might have started that way for me, but it's changed big time. Just hearing you say these things, super humbling, man. And I'm hoping, maybe after watching The Day in the Life, like I strike a lot of those chords with a lot of new people, and maybe it gets me that job I'm seeking.
I
appreciate
I've been
you big
waiting.
time. Like I've used that word humbled a lot, and you I don't know. Like I said, you got me blushing again.
No, you played the gimmick right. You didn't let anybody in. You didn't let anybody around. Nobody could get. You were Dasher. Isn't an enigma, man. He is. That's just for me. That's what it is, and it always will be. And
we were taught that though too. Some guys didn't learn it. They didn't listen. But we were taught that too. Like, I, as growing up a wrestling fan, like I still am in awe of guys I couldn't get around, guys I couldn't get an autograph. I couldn't talk to them next to the car. And so all of that resonated with me. Like it would be largely, easily accessible, or I can't come off as an everyday, average Joe. I've got to keep that enigma as best I can. Mantis is the king of that.
Is that right?
Mantis is the king.
Black.
You can't be seen. Yeah, I mean,
and he never spoke either, so you can never really figure him out. That's a problem.
I think you hit on it.
It took me years to get his phone number, and we would travel a lot together, which made it difficult. And then recently, he did like a Christmas tree reading for the Leapfrog Christmas. Yeah. And when Chris Levin was like, he reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, can you give me Mantis's phone number?" I was like I had to text Mantis and be like, "Hey, can I phone number to this kid for this reason?" Yeah. So I get permission to give away his phone number to somebody who's in the know.
That's what we do that all the time. I think that's the way you do it. You have to do it because once you get that number, you're like, "Oh my God, my phone just turned into this is Willy Wonka. Yeah. This is a golden." You can't know. It's secret, right?
Yeah.
I did a very good professional wrestler, man. I appreciate the time. We've taken an hour out of your night tonight. We don't want to keep you any longer. Again, we're going to end it, but I want you to stay with us here for a minute. But again, thanks, man. Thanks you for all the memories, the dedication, and your sacrifice to pro wrestling and sports entertainment for what we get to enjoy now for some of those guys on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Mondays, Fridays, and pay-per-views. And I just can't wait for it to be your turn.
I appreciate you, man. I'm going to keep grinding, so we're going to make some more memories.
I know your Twitter is at a very good pro rest. Is that right?
Very good pro rest. That's all the letters I can fit.
Okay. What about, is there other social media right now for you, or is that?
I have an Instagram too. That's about as much as I got. I got a t-shirt, but I don't even have that for sale on the internet. You can tell how concerned I am with that nowadays. But it's a cool t-shirt. If you slide in my DMs, I'll give you my PayPal. I'll send you a t-shirt. Kind of works that way.
There
awesome.
you go.
Other than that, more than anything, go watch A Life in a Very Good Professional Wrestler's Life. I messed up the title, goofed it up. Go watch it.
That's all right.
Make sure to follow up IWTV on Twitter, Indie Wrestling. You can find, I believe, AG's code was Hulk Hogan. I think was his code for Beyond. I think Beyond is a code. Do you have a code for Beyond yet?
No, but I got to get one because everybody, like in my real life outside of wrestling, I guess wrestling's real life too, but you know what I mean? They're all going to want to watch it. So I'm going to be like, "Jerry, I need a code for all my friends and family because they don't want to watch IWTV ever again after this."
Well, don't say that.
Yeah.
You got to say that there's a new fan.
Never mind, Jerry. They're all going to fall in love with IWTV. Can I have a code, please?
They're all going to be Beyond fans and come support you on a regular basis.
There we go. If they didn't do it yet, they're not going to.
Hey, man, again, I appreciate the time, and I can't wait till we do this again.
Dude, I loved every second of it. Let's do it again soon.